Hello angels and welcome to One Way or a Mother. Today we're spilling the tea on our first ever guest, who is a fashion stylist, influencer, fiancée, mum-to-be. Did I forget anything? Not to mention the newest and youngest Real Housewife of Cheshire, which went down as well as a fart in a yoga class. She slid from the DMs straight into the drama. Listen today as we will be discussing her pending motherhood, the show, and handing out tips on how to dress for a catfight. She's young, pretty and clever, and she's right, I'd hate her too. Please welcome Ellie. Elle, hi, it's so good to have you here. You look amazing.
Thank you, babe. So do you. I'm so excited to be here and
know.
chat to you today. Can't wait.
I can't believe you've come all the way from Cheshire just to grace us today.
Of course. Listen, any excuse for a trip to London and I am here. I don't come enough at the minute.
No, the sun is shining and I think it's because you've turned up.
I hope so.
So, huge congratulations on the baby. I was watching the show and I didn't even realise you were having a girl.
I know. Yeah, a little baby girl. Honestly, I was literally like over the moon when we found out.
Yeah.
Like, I was so convinced. The minute I found out I was pregnant, I was like, intuition, like mother's intuition. I was like, it's a boy. 100% it's a boy. And we had a little cake made. And when we cut it, I was literally like, I nearly fell over. I was like, I could not believe it's a girl. Like, oh, just either way, it would have been perfect.
Yeah, I was the same. Jodie's got 3 boys. So, we always like thought, oh, we're just going to have another boy. Like, nothing wrong with that. I really liked the idea of having a little boy. And then when she came out and she was a girl, I actually could not believe it.
Wait, so did you not find out?
No. I waited until the day.
Oh my God, I could not.
I felt like it was the only thing that like kept me hanging on throughout the pregnancy because I was like, get this baby out of me. Wow. Tell us all about the show. I can't believe we're here. And it's just been so exciting. I've been catching up on the last 2 series. To be the youngest ever housewife, which, like I said, hasn't gone down very well with the other ladies. But Elle, I must say, you have composed yourself and held yourself so well amongst these grown-up, inverted commas, women. I'm actually quite shocked at the sort of level of behaviour that I've witnessed from the other women.
It is quite shocking, to be honest. I mean, I feel like obviously my occupation is different to a lot of what the other women do. And I kind of knew going into the show that there was potentially going to be a little bit of like conflict ever so slightly. But I was really shocked how much age was actually brought up. I was like by the other women because I was like, I have friends that are like so much older, like so much younger, like age doesn't really matter to me.
No.
So I was so shocked that they were like constantly talking about age and reverting everything back to age and like, you know, oh, there's only something that you do in your age group. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
But you know what? I feel like now I'm like obviously done 2 series and I feel like I've like cemented myself into the group now, which they are a little bit of a tricky group to like get
I
in
can
with.
imagine.
But like some of the girls I just clicked with like instantly and like I just know that they're friends for life, and others you do take longer to build relationships with, but I'm like I think they're all warming to the idea, but I'm like maybe, you know, it's just bringing a whole different dynamic to the show.
I noticed more so on the last series, a few of the ladies, not mentioning any names, Nicole, she was really picking on you about your career. And I found that I actually found it really upsetting to watch because I thought, is this just a level of jealousy, again, an age issue?
Yeah.
Or are we really, as women, looking down on younger generations?
I know.
Whereas like it's almost as if older women just aren't keeping up.
Yeah.
You know?
And I feel like this is where obviously everyone's entitled to an opinion, and if that's Nicole's opinion, that's absolutely fine. But I do just feel like that is the way the world is going now. Every business implements social media in some way. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Everybody uses it. So I was a little bit like, you need to kind of look at the bigger picture. And also I'm like, other girls in the show use their platform to promote things, to make money, to do it. Like they have a business through their social media platform. So I was like, I feel like it's quite a narrow-minded view on it. And also I'm like, I just feel like we should be supporting each other.
100%.
Like all of us women on the show, I mean, we do 9 times out of 10. Everyone, you know, we bicker, what have you, there's arguments, but everyone shows up for each other. And in that situation, I was like, oh, should we just not support that maybe, okay, my business is very different to your business, but we're both absolutely killing it. And isn't that amazing?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. And it doesn't mean just because someone else is doing well that there's no room for them to...
Exactly. There's room for everybody.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, instead of like nitpicking, I'm like, we should all just like support and be like, isn't it amazing? What can I learn from you? Because I'm sure I could learn a lot from Nicole.
Absolutely.
That's how I see it.
No. So now you're expecting.
Yes.
What like, how much are you going to be showing that on the show? Are you feeling confident to show this? Because I know, like, I had a conversation, with one of our other guests who you will hear more from maybe the week after next, about showing children on social media and having children in the public eye. So obviously yourself and Chris, your partner, your fiancé, how much do you want the baby on the show?
Do you know, this is something that we have spoken about, and I feel like, luckily, timing-wise for me, we've just finished filming, so obviously I'm like halfway through my pregnancy now, and we won't start again for another like 6-7 months. So I feel like it's really like actually perfect. Couldn't be more perfect. So when are you due now? So I'm due the end of July.
Oh my God.
I know.
Oh my God, that's really soon.
I know. Every time I say it, I'm like, oh my God, what month?
Because you're so tiny, like your tiny little frame anyway. But now you're pregnant. I really noticed your bump popping in your photos last night. You look amazing. But it's so funny, isn't it? How for sort of the first 3 months, you can't see anything. No. There's nothing there. It's only you that feels that way. And then all of a sudden you look in the mirror and you're like, whoa.
Well, that's how I literally feel. Like one morning I literally wake up and I was like, oh my gosh, I have a full on like bump.
That's like, how I felt. I was looking at Instagram stories on the way here this morning.
I was like, what the hell? She come out of nowhere. But you know what? It's so exciting. And I'm like, that's why I'm like, now I've got these 6 months to like have the baby before I go back into filming. I feel like it's really good timing, and I feel like it's going to give me, I really want to be like mindful of my own mental health and really make sure that like I prioritize myself. Prioritize like me, Chris. Obviously, Chris has got a little son as well, and like really that family unit. And I think I'll probably take a little bit of time off social media, like not a lot, but I think I am just really going to prioritize me. And I think because I'm going to have that period of time, I'm just going to see how I feel, because I'm like, I don't want to forward plan too much, and I just want to think when I go back into the show, like I don't think I share a lot of my life online, you know, so I don't feel like it would necessarily be very true to myself to all of a sudden not show anything.
Yes.
But I think I've just got to wait and see, you know, what the dynamic actually is, because I know people have opinions. But I think as much and as little as what feels right for us.
I'm really, really pleased to hear that. Because it's something I didn't do.
Really?
And it's the biggest piece of advice I give to all my girlfriends or anyone even thinking about having a baby.
Yeah.
I think as women, we have this notion in our minds of like, I can do everything. Leave it to me. You know, it's like we were saying earlier, you're literally about to get married, having a baby, you're on a TV show, you've just got a dog. And now you're like, oh, I might think about redecorating. And I'm like,
should we move house? Like, me turning my career in the middle of all of this. Like, let's move. I'm like,
so I think we just have this thing as women where we're like, I can do it all.
Yeah.
And especially when a baby comes.
Yeah.
Where, because it's so centered around you as the mother, and you know, I know some dads have a big part in it, but at the end of the day, they come from us, right? And we are responsible. They want you regardless of the situation. Your baby always wants mummy, right?
Yeah.
And I think the hardest part is to let go of that control. Yeah. Like for me, like we were just saying this before we sat down, that on day 3 of recovering, my dad was coming over and I was in Morrison's after a C-section, like going around buying French baguettes, like chunky cheese,
like the
and
house
crisps.
needs to be pristine.
Yeah, the house needs to be immaculate. And no, it doesn't. It really, really doesn't. And people don't care. Your friends and family don't care if they turn up and the house is a tip. And, you know, as long as you and the baby are all right, that is really all that matters.
They want to support you as well, don't they? And to be fair, I'm seeing this maybe as like me having the baby is like the perfect time for me to actually slow down, because I think this year has been, the last 2 years really have been absolutely mental. I mean, like amazing. I've achieved things in the last 2 years that like I could only like imagine.
You really have.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, I do look back and I'm like, I'm so chuffed with myself, but I'm like, I do feel like this is like putting the brakes on and making me properly slow down. And like that is the most difficult part for me, like so far. Like even I'm not even into like parenthood, motherhood yet, but I'm like, even just like being pregnant, I'm like, the workload, I'm like, it kills me to be realistic and be like, I can't do 5 jobs in one day. Whereas really I used to be able to, but it's like the physical toll that it's having on my body. I'm like, I think putting my physical and like mental together and realizing like, you know, you want to do this, but you physically can't now because you need to prioritize yourself.
Absolutely.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, like no one spoke to me about that, like in terms of like slowing down and like workload and things like that. So I think it's just adapting my life, but it's nice.
It's funny you say that because I did the opposite.
Really?
In my mind, I was thinking, right, I better sort my shit out now because I'm having a baby. And when I have a baby, everything's going to like the world's going to end.
Yeah.
That's how I saw it.
Did
like
you?
in terms of my career and like, you know,
Yeah.
you've had overnight success with the show and what you've been able to do online and all your campaigns and everything is amazing, Elle. And, you know,
thank you, babe.
hats off to you, babe. You've done a smashing job. But at the same time, the fact that you're seeing having a baby as a way to relax.
I know, everyone's like, what is wrong with this woman?
It's actually killing me.
I'm like, this is my downtime. Everyone's like, really? And I'm like, no, seriously. I'm like, because no, like honestly, Chris is like, you just don't, you're never in the house, like you're never not doing something. And I'm like, yeah, but babe, when I've got the baby, and he's like, yeah, when you've got the baby, you'll be even busier. But I think in my head, I'm like, yeah, but I'll slow down in one element of my life and get crazier in another.
And it's just having that single like tunnel vision focus on one thing.
Exactly, which I've just never had. I do try and do, like you say, you spin so many plates, try and do everything. And I'm like, I think this is the time now where I just need to prioritize things and get everything a little bit more in order.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only are you expecting, but you're also a stepmummy. We never had this conversation, but I'm a stepmum as well.
I know, I didn't even know you were a stepmom.
So obviously Jodie's got his 3 boys from previous relationships.
Yeah.
And they're great. Sorry, I've forgotten his name.
Blake. Yeah.
Blake was one of my boy names.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
It's a gorgeous name. So how is Blake taking to it all?
Do you know what? Actually, like really, really well. I mean, I'm super lucky. Like we have such a good relationship with Chris's ex, and like everything, the dynamic there was actually really good.
That's lovely.
So I feel like, because obviously when I first met Chris, and it was like, oh, you know, I got on really well with my ex, and I have a son. Like I was like initially like red flag, like alarm bells, because I was like, every past relationship I've ever had would be like, ex would be like, honestly, just it just relayed like trauma to me, and I was like, I can't do this. So when I actually realised that the relationship was really good and it was actually healthy, I was like, oh. So
but isn't it funny how we think having a good relationship with your ex is a red flag?
I know.
Isn't
it bad? Like I'm like, is that toxic on my
yes,
part?
I
don't know.
It's so toxic because I think the same. Like obviously my parents are divorced, so I've always seen like a really strained relationship between my parents. And then when I met Jodie and he was like, yeah, like it's all right with her, and I was like, oh, she must still be in the picture.
Yeah, you do. That's your instant reaction, isn't it? And then it's like, what? Like I don't. And then I thought to myself, I don't want to take that side of me into this relationship. So I literally was like, trusted it for what it is. Like, and like obviously I've been proven like not wrong. Like everything is absolutely fine. And Blake, should I say, was a little bit gutted that it wasn't a boy. But he already has 2 brothers. So I was like, come on. I was like, literally,
give me a break, man.
I'm like, you're my little sister. So he was a little bit gutted with that part. But like now he'll literally like look at my tummy and go, oh, Elle, I can't believe there's a baby in there. And I'm like,
that is so gorgeous.
I actually think he will be amazing.
Yeah, he will. Like, I think you'll see a real side of him that's really kind.
Yeah.
And just, it makes him grow up a little bit as well.
100%. I think so. Because like, even when we got the dog, I was like, you know, listen, I was like, need your help. Like, this is a lot of responsibility and he's really good. And I'm like, oh my God, if he's like this with the dog, it's going to be great with the baby.
That is so lovely. In terms of your influencing and your career, you've just gone from strength to strength. And I know you started in sort of styling. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. Was that, who was it with again? I saw it first.
So I studied buying and merchandising at uni, and then I did buying for a couple of years at River Island. Then I moved over to, I saw it first, into, I did buying there for a little bit, and I was just sat in this job thinking like, this is just not, you know, when you're itching for like more creativity.
Tell me about it.
I was like, this is just not for me. And then I moved into styling like relatively quickly actually. And then at the same time I did that, I got really into it, like did lots of campaigns, like we traveled a lot, it was amazing. But then I was still there, you know, I still felt like I needed more. I always felt like I was just itching for a little bit more. And then I was like, maybe I want to go freelance. And then whilst I was in the midst of all of this, I started sort of posting my own content, like my own outfits, like on the way to work every morning. And like that just started to get a lot of traction. And then I feel like a lot happened for people in COVID, didn't it?
Absolutely. Like COVID was life-changing.
Yeah, it was like a big life mood happened around then. And honestly, like brands just came out of nowhere and like the outreach was just crazy and like things just picked up really fast. And then I was doing a few personal styling clients like on the side. And I just was like, do you know what? I was like, I'm like, what I'm doing for other people, I can do like with myself and basically make more money.
Exactly.
And I absolutely love it.
Great.
But I think what I would always say as well with influencing is like I don't think people realise how time consuming it really is and the dedication it really takes.
Do you feel like you can't go somewhere and just enjoy it?
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's like my toxic trait.
Yeah.
Like I can feel in my head, I'm like, this would be so good for a picture.
Yeah.
And I'm like eyeing up everyone like I'm out with, being like, who looks like the weakling that would take the picture? What do you mean? And I can see people looking at me like, just relax. And I'm like, I can't relax.
I know,
like,
I know.
Me and Chris have got a holiday in a month's time, and he's like, Elle, like, no content. You need to, like, this is the baby moon. You need to relax. And I'm thinking, there's no chance.
No way. No way.
There's no way. But that's just part and parcel of the job. Like, and that's what I think with influencing, you can't turn it on and off. Like, it's constant, like, you're on top of trends. Like, you need to be, like, aware of everything that's going on. Like, you constantly got your eye looking for different, like, new things, what everyone else is posting. Like, and obviously so many platforms now that you need to be on top of. So it is really time consuming.
So in terms of social media, how are... I mean, and you've got the show as well. So you've got a double whammy of not just your followers, but the entire nation. It feels like they've got all eyes on you.
Yeah.
How do you deal with trolls, online hate? Have you ever really had anything like that?
Do you know what? I always feel like when you do something new or you're growing your online presence, you're going to attract an element of trolls. No matter what you do, I don't think you can avoid it. I feel I didn't get that much, really, to be fair, just off my Instagram. Or anything I did get, I would sort of, I never really read it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then anything off the show sort of tends to go on their Instagram page.
Right.
And I personally just choose not to read anything.
Them. Yeah.
And, you know, if I'm ever tagged in anything, I literally just delete it. I don't entertain the conversation. Because I just think if you delve into it and you look for it, it's only gonna make you annoyed. And I'm just like, everyone's gonna have an opinion, whether you're the Mother Earth or not. Someone's gonna have an opinion of you. But I think it's just, you gotta look after yourself and your own mental health.
Totally.
And people obviously deal with that differently. But my way is literally, I just don't engage.
So one thing you haven't really talked about on the show is your actual pregnancy.
I know.
And it's so funny as a first-time mum, because I think what you see on TV and in the movies, it's so far from that, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Really feel that.
How are you feeling? What are you experiencing? You're 22 weeks now or 24?
25 now.
25.
Yeah,
Oh my God. So you really are halfway through.
Yeah, which is crazy.
This point for me, I think, was my favourite part.
Really?
Where you're still, I mean, not in your case, but I was still svelte. I had a nice little bump.
Yeah.
Like everyone was like, oh, she's definitely pregnant. She's not just bloated, you know. And then you start to look good and you feel good. And then after that, you just turn into this like bloated mess. And I was so poorly with morning sickness right the way up probably till about 30 weeks.
What, the whole way through?
The whole way through. I was so ill.
You.
I remember the day of the Queen's funeral, RIP, and I was literally hoovering the kitchen. I just went, bleh.
Just straight out.
But it would just be like, bleh. Like not like projectile, like serious object, like, bleh. And Jodie would be like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't actually know.
Like, I've just been sick.
I'd just get up and like just carry on. And he'd be like,
Really?
what the fuck? And I was like,
do you know what? I think I've been so lucky though.
Yeah,
and I
you've
keep
been
saying
so
that
lucky.
because I've had no morning sickness, like no mad cravings or anything like that. Like all I genuinely feel is like a new level of exhaustion.
Yes.
You know, everyone speaks about this, like, oh yeah, when you get to this many weeks, like you'll have this burst of energy, and I'm like, no, like when? Like, this is just not happening for me. But then everyone's like, you've not been sick, so you might not get the burst of energy. But like it's more like as well, like this sciatic nerve pain.
Oh, it's horrible,
I'm
isn't
like,
it?
No one told me about this because no joke, the other day I literally couldn't move. Like, you know, when you've been out, like for instance, I was out working all day and then I was like, oh my God, my back's killing, I'm gonna sit down. And I was like to Chris, I was like, I actually can't get up.
No.
I was like, my whole like left leg went dead.
No.
Like,
And I think women, and especially younger girls who might not have children, have this perception of like pregnancy being the most beautiful thing in the world.
Yeah.
And it is, don't get me wrong. It's incredible what the female body can do.
but there's a lot of nitty gritty stuff that no one talks about.
No one talks about. Like I was just saying earlier that when Cece got bigger and bigger, when she would kick, I could literally like feel it in my bum hole, and I'd be like, "This is so uncomfortable." I'd just be sat watching telly, and be like, "Woo!" Like literally like shoot through the roof. It's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Why?
I still can't fathom the fact that like I've just started to feel movement, and I'm like, I can still not fathom the fact that there's actually like
something
a child
inside you.
in there.
I know.
Like, that is just wild.
Because for so long you can't see anything. You don't even know it's there.
Literally.
And then all of a sudden you start getting those little butterfly flutters.
And I'm like literally going to see like a leg pop out soon. She's just nuts. But I feel like the whole time I was filming, like with all the girls on the show, I genuinely was like, I feel fine. I feel great. And I'm now like, is it because I'm slowing down and my body's like not doing as much that I'm like, oh, I'm actually feeling everything.
Yeah,
now,
I'm
like,
actually
proper.
pregnant now. Yeah.
I'm actually relaxing into this and I'm feeling all the bad side effects.
Yeah. And how about Chris? How's Chris feeling about the show and wanting you to slow down, you know?
Honestly, I mean, he is like honestly the most supportive partner ever.
That's so lovely.
Like, because obviously we only came on the show really because we went on a night out together, like a restaurant opening.
Yeah.
And then got like a DM the next day, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, go on the Real Housewives of Cheshire.
Sorry, let's just start that again. So you had a DM asking to be on Real Housewives. It was literally as simple as that.
Literally as simple as that. And
No way.
I saw it and I was like, and I screenshot it and sent it to Chris, and I was like, it's definitely like spam. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, do I not reply? And he was like, oh my God, just reply and see what they say. And then they'd said that they'd seen us at this event, and it was actually just it was just one guy, sorry, it was just a producer, and he was like, oh, I seen you guys at this event, and then he sent me this article that we were in like Manchester Evening News. And I was like, that's so random. And then he was like, do you fancy like meeting? And I was like, yeah, but at this point I'm like, I'm not married. Like we hadn't even moved into the house yet. So
I'm not even
like,
interesting.
Yeah, I was like, no, I have nothing going on. Like, I don't know why you want to talk to me. But I was like, do you know what? And I'm like such a believer of like everything.
Fate.
Yeah, everything happens to you for a reason.
And I think in our industry, in any sort of media or any industry, being a businesswoman, you have to seize every opportunity.
You do, yeah, 100%. And to be fair, and that's what I thought to myself. I was like, do you know what? This has come to me for a reason. I'm going to go. And like the whole thing happened so fast. Like I had the meeting and then literally 2 weeks later. But like Chris from that point was so supportive. He was like, Elle, you have to do it. Like this is the best opportunity ever. Like, it doesn't happen to
Does he get like
that.
Protective or funny when the girls are horrible to you?
He's just like, Chris is very
He's chilled,
relaxed,
isn't he?
Yeah. Whereas I feel like I'm a little bit more of like the feisty
Fiery.
one in the relationship. Chris is like, oh, like really, baby, you that bothered? I'm like, you're not listening. I'm
No.
like, you come
You
home.
just don't get it.
I'm like, you're not listening to me. I'll come home at like 11 o'clock, like, no. And he's just in bed, like, oh my God. He's like, I'll just don't let it get to you. But I feel like sometimes you need that. You need that like sample when you come home. Whereas if he wound me up even worse, could you imagine? I'd go back on the show and be like,
So no, I think Jodie's like that. Jodie's very supportive, but I think if I was on a TV show, he would be doing everything in his power to get on it as well.
Really?
Like, he is so like that. Like, let me tell you, right? So one of my very, very good friends, they're getting married in the summer. And yesterday, she asked me to be the celebrant at their wedding. So she wants me to actually marry them.
Shut up.
Because they've already got married in the UK.
Can you do that? Or do you need to have
it's
like...
just a blessing. So I'm essentially... Like,
I mean, what an honour.
I know. I was like, honestly, reduced to tears. I was like screaming,
bet.
crying, throwing up right now. And I walked in and Jodie was like, whoa, are you sure you want to do that? And I was like, yeah, of course I want to do that. And he was like, right. He said, well, what can I do? I said, you can sit and watch like everybody
you're
else.
Not part of this.
Yeah,
babe.
he was like, are you going to have a microphone? I said, I freaking hope so. I said, I want the Britney bitch one.
Yes.
So I can break into dance when I need to.
Absolutely.
Full theatre school vibes. No, but he's like trying to geg in on my act. I said, will you...
Do you know what? They're all the same though, I swear to God.
Yeah.
Chris will literally be like, oh, I'm not filming Ellie's like, this is your gig, not mine. The minute the camera crew like come around to the house or whatever, he's like straight in there. The minute we're filming, he's like, so what did she say? And what did you say back? And I'm like, look, you love the gossip. And then they'll leave and he's like, so really, did she actually say that to you? And I'm like, oh my gosh, he gets right involved.
No, I know. Jodie's the kind of person that would be like, do you need me to rap to lighten the mood? And I'm like, no.
I need to come to this wedding.
Please,
I need to witness you two marrying a couple.
Well, that's it now. I'm adding celebrant to my CV. You've been very open about your mum's experience with her breast cancer diagnosis and where she's at with it at the moment. I noticed it hugely discussed on the show, which is amazing for spreading awareness, but how it's affected so many of the women on the show, and also the domino effect that it has on so many women. I don't know if it just seems more prevalent to me now because of my own experience. My mum was diagnosed with breast cancer herself 2 weeks ago. It's stage 2, so I think we're gonna catch it, nip it in the bud, and hopefully move on. She's got an appointment this morning, so I'm like trying not to check my phone to find out what the next steps are in terms of treatment and how we're going to progress with it. But I mean, she's amazing. She is a scouser through and through. She is a tough cookie. And she has just been amazing and so brave, and we're all putting on a brave face and just really...
That's all you've got. That's all you can do, really.
Absolutely. But I'd really appreciate if you could share more about your story for anyone listening, but also anything you can share with me.
Yeah. No, do you know what it is? And I feel like me talking to you as well, like it is like so, because you remind, like I think we have similarities in the sense of we're like, everything's fine, I can handle it. And I feel like I do bottle a lot up, which is probably
100%.
what you will do as well, especially because your mum's so strong. Like mine is, you sort of like then take that in your stride. But I think it's important to let yourself be upset as well, and let yourself actually feel that like raw emotion, which I sort of like pushed down and wouldn't let myself feel that, and then eventually it just bubbles over. And I think as well, like for me, what I found really helped me is, and this was something that kind of came about on the show that you guys will watch, but we put together like a huge charity event.
I saw it on your Insta.
Which is amazing, and you'll see, I can't say too much about it, but you will watch it. And it was honestly such an emotional day. I found it so difficult, but I actually feel like speaking out about it really helped me. And it was like speaking to Rachel from the show as well, and obviously she has experience with her mom, and like you say, it just affects so many different people. And it was her advice to me that she was like, "Elle, like, help me, and like, it probably will with you."
A problem shared is a problem halved.
Exactly. And it's like, I always thought like I don't want to speak about it because it makes it more real.
And
that's
it does.
What, you're just a bit like, I'm like, people ask me about it.
I'm a big believer in energy and putting your energy into things.
100%.
And a part of me thinks I don't want to keep talking about this because I'm giving it power I'm giving it energy.
100%.
And it's hard. And I get like that in situations if someone's upset me or pissed me off, and Jodie says to me, "Stop talking about it."
Like you're giving,
you're giving it power. And as much as I want to give the situation power where we're going to overcome it, I think at the moment it's fear driven.
Absolutely.
Fear is probably the most negative energy. For anybody listening or someone like myself who's experiencing this as a family member, it almost seems like I've been saying to my friends, I wish it was me. I wish I could take it from her, because I feel like if it was me, I'd be able to fight it and it wouldn't be a problem. But it's something so scary about it being your mum, who's like your biggest protector. She was my provider growing up. And I just feel like the thought of losing her is so much scarier than,
you can't fathom
than almost losing myself. It's mental.
And that's what I mean. I feel like you almost need to give, which I struggled with, you've got to give yourself the space to actually be upset and be emotional about the situation. And I tried so hard to not show that in front of my mum, because I was very much in front of my mum, like, we're going to be fine, like everything's going to be fine, like we're going to sort everything out. And like she was really strong for like a period of time, and then it got to the point where we sort of weren't getting anywhere and the treatment plan wasn't clear. And and I did feel at times, I've got to be careful kind of what I say, but like really quite let down by the NHS, because I would go to some appointments with her where I'd be like, well, I'll come with you because I wanted to speak for her, because obviously she's so emotionally overwhelmed and
weak
drained.
At times,
And I would sit there and I'd be like, well, what about this treatment plan? What about this? And they would be like, very like in my face, like, your mum has like stage 4 cancer, like all over her spine, like there's nothing we can do. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like how do you think that makes me feel, like to actually hear that? And it's like, in terms of like diet, like my mum is very clued up in terms of like knowing what she can and can't eat and what feeds. Like, it's common knowledge really now that sugar feeds cancer.
Absolutely.
And we would be sat there with the oncologist, and she'd be like, "Oh well, I know in terms of my diet," and just looking for a bit of like reassurance and someone to be like, "Yeah, your diet is really key." Would almost be like, "No, you should treat yourself and have a donut if you want a donut, or eat whatever you want, because like you deserve it."
Yeah, I must say, I noticed that when I took mum to the sort of cancer, not help area, it was a space where people with cancer can go and meet friends and, be supported. They had leaflets in there about what I should be eating, how to tell my friends I have cancer, like support leaflets. And one of them on there was talking about... to bulk yourself up, you should be eating fried bread, eggs, sausage, beans. And I just thought, I love McDonald's, right? But I think if I was fighting for my life after having chemotherapy, radiotherapy, as serious as that, I think the last thing I would think about eating would be fried bread.
Yeah, and I just find it so frustrating. Like, why is this information in hospitals like available for people? Like, I'm just like, why?
It's so misleading.
Yeah, people. I just feel like in the hospital there should be the right, in the cafes there should be all the right food.
Absolutely.
Everyone should be eating, like not all the like cakes, whatever. Like I just feel like the support for that isn't there, and I'm like, why is that?
Yeah, I think the funding has gone so much into technology and all that kind of thing. They're lacking in other areas, which could actually
really be
save them so much money. Yeah,
and it's like, when you sit in these appointments, everything obviously, I mean, the drugs that are amazing, and they have helped thousands, millions of people. But I do think that sometimes I'm like, that's only a small element of like, and especially my mum's situation. The drugs aren't going to save my mum's life. They're not going to cure her. Like hopefully, like your mum can have a course of chemotherapy or have an operation and whatnot. Where my situation, my mum now finds herself in, is that it's so many other sort of road she's now got to go down because she can't rely on the drugs.
Yeah.
And, you know, she doesn't want to be pumping like
No,
all
of
these
course.
drugs into her system.
And it's about quality of life, I believe, as well.
100%. And that's the thing. She's like, you know, she doesn't want to be on like really strong dose chemo if potentially she doesn't think it's going to prolong her life. You know, they're all just really tricky conversations, but this is why I'm just like wanting to use the platform that I've got to actually vocalize a little bit more of like, and people don't want to speak to me about it because they're like, it's because they know it's
upsetting.
Yeah,
of course.
and it's like such a taboo topic.
Yeah.
But I feel like by talking about it a little bit more and getting a little bit more awareness out there, hopefully then we can eventually build to prevent people from getting stage 4 secondary cancer.
Of
because
course.
after having cancer, you hopefully will be protocols in place to not put people in that position to end up with stage 4.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Everything's just sort of like building blocks on from that.
Of course. Do you think your mum's diagnosis, was it before or after COVID?
Just after.
Yeah. Do you think that COVID probably affected that as well?
Do you know what because she had the vaccine, which I know obviously this is like
big topic, isn't it?
Yeah, such a big topic. But she does think that was a huge contender.
Yeah,
like absolutely, because she was just like absolutely fine from then, and then literally had the vaccine, and then has never really been well since.
Well, it would make sense in a way.
Yeah, it would, wouldn't it?
Considering that she was in remission and doing so well.
And then all of a sudden that stage 4, you know, and she only had breast cancer. Now it's in her like spine and her pelvis. It's just spread to areas that it's a bit like that's unheard of. And obviously no one knows what's even in the vaccine.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I look back and like I had 2 and you do just question, don't you? You do just think we were all so petrified at the time.
Oh, absolutely.
You just didn't know what to do. And like that was the right thing to do at the time. But hindsight's a wonderful thing.
It's a wonderful thing. Anyway, taking us back to the show, how many episodes are left of this season?
Think we have got about another 6.
So I'm up to Esther's Hindu, which was absolutely hilarious.
Oh, like we had such a laugh. You know, I actually loved putting on a blonde wig as well.
Blonde. It really suited you, by the way.
I love that.
I was really laughing at you and Rachel, like falling out over the tackiness of the Hindu.
Honestly, I'm like, with this group of girls, I'm like, those are all so outspoken.
Yeah.
I have one opinion and it's like, Elle thinks everything's tacky. I was like, it's a difference of opinion.
I know,
and I was also like, listen, we can all enjoy a tacky Hindu, but I was like, I'm entitled to an opinion to not want that on my Hindu.
So you won't be having blow-up dolls,
dolls
or pink dildos at yours then?
I mean, listen, I might have changed my mind by then, but right now I'm like, this is not a bit of me.
Have you got any funny stories you can share with us from the show?
Oh my gosh, I mean, I feel like I'm really on this one.
I mean, there must be something. You've travelled halfway around the world. You went to Thailand. You went to Spain. You've been to some beautiful places.
Do you know what? Even just being with the girls, like on camera, off camera, we actually genuinely all just have such a laugh.
And
like,
I said that with my own girlfriends. I don't even have to film with them.
Yeah.
You know,
like,
I am head of content with my girlfriends, by the way. And they, they're like,
well,
someone get Holly!
Well, that's what they've now, all the girls have now discovered. They're literally like, because I take everywhere with my G7X camera. So they're all like, where's Elle? Like, Elle can take the picture. And I'm like,
first they laugh, then they copy.
Exactly. I was like, Nicole, do you want me to take a pic of you?
Well, Elle, if I was to join Real Housewives of Cheshire, what would my tagline be?
Wait, I've actually got this written down. I was really quite proud of this one. I hope you're not disappointed.
I hope this isn't a chat GPT number. I hope this has come straight from the heart, Elle.
Chat GPT. I'm getting really hot now. Very taken.
Getting nervous.
So, I'm always booked, never bothered, whether it's podcasts or play dates.
Oh my God, I love that. ITV, give me a call. I'm here waiting.
Booked and busy.
Elle, a little gift from us. There's a Prosecco in there for you for when you can. A mug to drink the Prosecco from. You've got a whole makeup brush set here from my collection.
Oh my gosh, thank you, God.
It's okay.
Stop the personalised Prosecco. I can't.
It's such fun.
Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait so I can drink this.
So welcome. As I mentioned on my Instagram posts, each week I will be doing a little shout out to a small business or any female-owned business that has either supported me during this pod or that has reached out to me that I think is just pretty fucking cool. You may have seen on set some of the incredible branded pieces we have. The mugs, water bottles, the Personalised Prosecco labels I've got for all the ladies. Therefore, I have to shout out the amazing business, The Added Extras. I'm obsessed with their stuff. Not only did they do Cece's birthday party and we had a whole rodeo theme, however, they've been so helpful and so patient with me during this entire podcast process. Within 48 hours, we had a super quick turnaround and they were literally there on hand to help me. Special shout out to Jodie and Louie. They've been amazing. Thank you so much, guys. The Added Extras, theaddedextras.com. You will not be disappointed. That's a wrap. We've laughed, we've gasped, and we've taken notes on how to accessorize for emotional warfare. All thanks to the fabulous Elle. From DM dives to dinner party drama, she's proof that you can do it all. In full glam, no less. If you loved today's episode, and let's be honest, how could you not? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a review, or head over to our Instagram at One Way or a Mother to tell us what you really think. And hey, if you're still living in 2001, rocking dial-up and asking Jeeves, feel free to email us at hello@onewayoramotherpod.com. We'll fire up the AOL and wait patiently. Until next time, keep that liner sharper than your ex's excuses and your standards higher than your last Gale's bill. And remember, there's only one way to do it, or a mother. Bye!